Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video, it's a nice day, the middle of a Saturday, and I have a ton of little odds and ends that I'm trying to get done. Got a little burning going here, doing a little bit of housework and taking care of these small things that have been kind of hanging over my head. And with that, I find that no matter what I'm doing, I always need a blade. So for today, I decided I would use this small Kubey KU166. This small little blade is an amazing little utility knife. This thing is totally cool. The minute I saw this, I was instantaneously drawn to it for its utilitarian shape, the D2 tool steel, which I greatly like, the overall quality, fit and finish, the design elements, everything about this just jumped out at me, and I knew I wanted to put this thing to work. Now, if you've been watching my TFK T17 build, you will know that this is built with D2 tool steel. D2 is a steel that I greatly like, so when I saw this KU166 and the fact that it came in D2 tool steel, I was instantaneously drawn to it. I knew that D2 would be a great choice for a hard use blade, something that if you're going to be using it in a utility situation would definitely work very well to hold an edge, yet at the same time the overall stainless properties of D2 is excellent. So the corrosion resistance, the edge retention, everything in my mind about D2 is very advantageous when you're using it for a utility purpose. So for me, when I saw this KU166, I knew this knife was going to be great. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to talk about, do me a favor, stay tuned. Okay, so very briefly before we get started, let's just check the edge, which this little utility knife is like, oh my god, insane. Not the best technique, however, when you look at it, nice and sharp. The Kubey Knives KU166 has a nice G10 handle scale. So the way it is patterned just has a little bit of a look of, say, for example, a carbon fiber, which is very nice. And then you'll see these really thick, bright red liners. I mean, the liners really are making up the bulk of the scales here. So it's not really like a liner. It's pretty much like a two-tone G10 handle scale. And then the spine of the knife, you'll see just nice overall quality, well sculpted. Has that stone wash finish, then with some nice mild jimping. Now it is squared off and is quite comfortable. So overall, a beautiful knife. I mean, you'll see on the side there, you do have that two-tone finish where you end up with the acid stone wash look on the side and then that polished blade. So overall, just a beautiful looking knife. Also fit with a nice generous lanyard hole, and this did come with this lanyard attached to the back. So all things considered, beautifully crafted and a really cool looking blade. And even subtle little details, like for example the small hole drilled through here, just nice little detail. So the G10 having a little bit of a relief there, just really interesting look. I do like the fact that this has the satin bolts on it. It could have been darker hardware and been perfectly fine. Either way would have been good in my opinion, but I do like the satin hardware there. It just gives it a little bit of pop. And a nice quality Kydex leather sheath, well pressed rivets, and overall a little bit of flexibility in how you can place the clip. A nice quality spring clip on the back made out of Kydex, and comes with the bolted hardware. So all things considered, a very nice total package. Now, one of the main things is where I intend on using this as a utility knife. As I'm doing all my chores today, the last thing I want to do is have something dangling off my neck. Now, I do think this could be a pretty good neck knife. I will have to test the overall retention on this Kydex, but my initial impression is that it has good positive lockup and shouldn't come out There's not too much in the way of rattle there at all. So it seems to be a good quality Kydex sheath, perfectly form fit, and a good positive lockup. So I think you could get away with wearing this around your neck, but for me, again, bending over, doing tasks, grabbing at things, moving around, I don't want something like this around my neck. So I do intend on wearing this on my belt. So with that, you will see this has a little Kydex spring clip. It's kind of similar to the Spyderco, I believe they call them G-clips. Very, very similar there. But for me, this would be a vertical carry, and that doesn't quite work in this application. So what I really want to do is get this canted to the side so I have a nice quality cross draw, and I'm going to carry it on my weak side and basically cross draw this. So what I need to do is change the position of this clip, and I think it will work if I'm able to utilize this slot down here. So it's nice that this does have a little bit of flexibility. I'm going to change this pattern here, get this thing slid over, and that should give me a good quality cross draw. So you'll see here in the factory position that these two bolts are on the very bottom of the sheath, and next you will see how I plan on changing it. So taking this bolt, swinging it down to here, and then taking this bolt and swinging it into this little tray here should allow me to get that 45-degree angle. So now as I have changed the position, you'll see Kuby probably even expected people to do this because the slot right there is the absolute perfect size to get this clip at a 45-degree angle, and that is just beautiful. Now I have one small thing to bring up, which is the fact that Kuby put their stamp for a right-handed carry. Now this could potentially be ambidextrous. You'll see there is a small drainage hole on this side, but if I was Kuby, I'd be showing off and I'd be putting their stamp on the other side too in case those lefties want to carry this thing. So for me personally, just a small detail, but Kuby, take advantage of the fact that you should be showing off this knife in your brand and throw it on the other side as well. So now I have the knife perfectly in place. Nice and convenient right there where I need it. It's perfect, actually. Very comfortable, fits very nicely, simple to get on and off my belt, no problem. Good and concealed, no problem. The mailman shows up, I just kind of cover it up, no problem. Somebody, I'm talking to my neighbor, I don't want to look like a freak, no problem, cover it right up. So this to me is absolutely perfect. So at this point, let's talk about the grip. As you look here, you'll see that this has a nice ergonomic shape. Fits very well in the hand, good and comfortable, indexes very well. It's a comfortable little utility knife, and the key being that the blade is completely away from your hand and is in the perfect position to be doing some digging, prying, some scraping tasks. This has excellent geometry, and that is what I like about this the most. The blade is basically the shape of literally like a utility blade. So you'll see that classic utility shape with a little bit of a bevel. Now this is slightly thicker obviously than your typical razor knife, but that's what gives this the character, the utility function, the utility shape. Now this does have this ring here where my finger fits inside. I feel if there's any critique, that's just a little bit on the large side. I mean, I don't know anybody, well, I know one person with fingers this big, but I don't see him using this knife personally. But besides that fact, and actually we have a pretty funny name that you could probably come up with what we call his fingers, something like sausage or hot dog, but not, it's like a male appendage, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I think this could be just a little bit smaller and actually fit a little better, and what that would do is as I want an alternate grip, it would drop my finger a little bit lower, wouldn't span it quite so far out. I think this could be just a little bit smaller there and have a little bit better overall ergonomics, but generally speaking, this is wonderful. Nice little bit of jimping on the back there, so it's subtle and mild, but you have the ability to get your thumb right up there where you need it. So good quality comfort, that just feels great in the hand. And at this point, I have a bunch of work to do, but I have one more thing to talk about in terms of the ergonomics. And that is the fact that as a utility blade, you may want to be wearing gloves. So this feels wonderful in the hand, fits perfectly, has this nice shape, just good and quality indexing right where you need it. And with the gloves, it is very comfortable as well. Has enough texture that I actually feel it through the gloves, so adds to the overall tactile feel and function of this knife. So I think the jimping was well done. The shape of the handle was well done. The shape of the blade is perfect for those utility tasks, and the overall geometry is wonderful. And if you look at how those curves just fit in the palm of your hand, now it does change once you grab it down lower, but if you had the knife here to get a little bit more detailed work, you'll see that just fits so perfectly in the palm, just kind of contours with the palm of your hand, this handle and the overall shape of this knife. Just wonderfully done. So as a good outdoor hard use utility knife, how will this do processing wood? So for me, in reality, a knife in D2 tool steel would be great for the outdoor wilderness application, and I see this knife being a wonderful companion knife to somebody out in the camping environment, maybe even a little bit of bushcraft, where this is so precise, has this beautiful utility shape, and the D2 tool steel, I mean, this is just magnificent for some ridiculously fine little curls. So here, being very comfortable, fitting perfectly in my hands, and just doing such a nice job with these curls, I would say that this little Kubey KU166 would make an excellent backpacking or camping companion. Now, speaking of camping, one of the key things in a camping application is the ability to deal with your food, and with that, I'm getting a little bit hungry. So do me a favor and let's hang tight while I get myself some grub. So real quick, just taking a quick burger break. This KU166 is certainly capable of handling some of these basic food tasks. So even though I'm just using one hand here while chopping up this little burger, no problem, goes nicely through the meat. And more importantly, the fact that this does have those stainless properties, this will be an ease to clean up and you're not worried about rust. Now again, I am very familiar with D2 tool steel, and I know that it's not technically a stainless steel. Kind of right in between that carbon property and the stainless properties, but you'll see here this cleans up beautifully. So at this point, has no patina, and even I have used D2 tool steel on different things with like mustards and vinegars and different marinades and things that definitely would patina a steel, and it may take a little bit of a tinge to it, but it cleans off with the right cleaners and just the right techniques. It will clean off. So fact of the matter being, D2 tool steel, taking this out into the backpacking or camping application, maybe bushcraft application, I see this being a perfect little companion blade. So here I am in my truck, and it's getting to be the time of year when I need to scrape off the old beach sticker and get ready for the new. So using this KU166 here, just using this like a utility knife. Now it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to see, but I'm basically trying to get on this here and scrape this sticker to the best of my ability and hopefully not make a horrendous mess of it. And the shape of this is perfect. Now, will this do the job? I'm not so sure, but I'm sure as hell gonna give it a try. Kind of getting this corner up here at this point. It's kind of helped me to get this thing established. So I don't think I could have really done that with a normal knife. I mean, it really needed that utility shape to get under the corner there and peel it up. And at this point, if I'm careful, I should be able to completely remove this without too much of a mess. And now just a little bit of glass cleaner, and that to me is definitely a job well done. So this little Kubey knife definitely helping me get the job done. So now continuing down through my list of things that I wanted to accomplish, here you'll see this old ripped tattered screen. Now unfortunately my window screen tore actually 2 years ago now, and last year I was supposed to deal with this. I never did. There's some I'd say grasses here that kind of grew over it and just started grabbing onto it, and unfortunately the people before me planted it a little too close to the window. But at this point I need to deal with this window, and I don't want to just remove the frame and put it somewhere. Could get bent, could get twisted around and kind of pepperonied. So I figured what I do is just leave the frame in place and cut out the rest of this screen here. And for that, why not use this Kubey KU166. And not like that's all that challenging of a job, but fact of the matter is the ability to just precisely go right down and through and cut it out of the way. Sometimes when you go to tear something, it doesn't tear the direction you want it to, so that nice quick little precise motion here, beautiful. So what about tasks like cutting rope? So here I have two different sizes. This one's a little bit thinner, that one a little bit thicker, a couple of slightly different materials, but here, getting into it, as I grip the knife, I need to kind of pay attention to how I'm gonna grip it. It's a little bit awkward. Now you need to be a little bit careful about how you hold the blade. Just takes a little bit of effort, and you have just, I would say, the slightest lack of leverage just because it's not long. So you need to be a little bit patient and make maybe a couple of cuts here. Or you could potentially grip this another way. So for me, using more like a chest pull definitely would work, and that's where this gets in the way just a little bit. I mean, I can do it, but getting on it like this, a couple of little slices, yeah, I mean, it'll go. You just need to be a little bit creative. Now, I betcha no problem if I put this down and kind of slice through it. I mean, that has no problem at all. In fact, it's quite easy. Let me reposition the camera. So you'll see this has absolutely nothing to do with the sharpness of the knife. It's just a leverage issue. I mean, this is more than capable of getting right through that rope with ease. I mean, basically just getting right down and through there. So again, it is not necessarily a sharpness issue, just simply leverage. And now for this thicker rope here, same thing. Taking a couple of swipes at it. I mean, it's already close. There it goes. So again, same sort of result. Let's try it down on the log. And so now with this thicker rope just bearing down ever so effortlessly, you will see that this goes right through. So the D2 tool steel, the shape of the blade, and the overall sharpness is perfect for this. However, the length of the handle just leaves it, I would say, a little bit to be desired for that sort of utilitarian task, cutting the rope. But generally speaking, it will do it. You just need to be a little bit crafty on how you deal with it. And so now, what about this hose? If I'm going to be using this as a utility blade, something like a hose repair is certainly not out of the realm of possibility. So I know I'm not going to be doing the grip and rip method on this. I need a good precise cut. This end needs to be square. So for that, a push cut is definitely the way to go. Just squaring up on this nice and easy. Hose collapsing on me a bit, but it's not the knife's fault. And that will go down real clean. And even if I wanted to, filleting this thing wide open. A little bit awkward just with the length of the grip. And I also can say that I find this right here just to be a little bit uncomfortable. I kind of wish this was smaller, gave me a little bit better grip with a little bit, I don't know, wider stance there, but
overall, not too big of a deal.
So here I am in my workshop, getting ready to do just a little bit of electrical work, kind of going down the line here and installing some outlets. So as I work on this workshop, basically at this point I've had no power in this side of the basement, and I really need to get this going. So figured for this portion of the job, why not use the KU166 as my utility knife.
So alright guys, there you have it, a look at the Kubey Knives KU166. To me, an excellent overall package with this kydex that worked very well. This blade has an excellent utilitarian shape and has served me well all day. A number of different tasks that I've needed it to perform, it's definitely gone to the test. And generally speaking, at this point, still nice and sharp. Not quite capable of shaving, but has a beautiful edge, no damage whatsoever. This KU166 is a beautiful little utility knife. And let's be honest, what would you rather use? This or this? To be honest with you, I see this having a lot more utility use, maybe just a little change in the ergonomics of the handle, most specifically being the size of this ring here. It's just a little bit uncomfortable for me, makes me span my hands just a little too much where I feel like I want to get that full grip when I need the leverage. I kind of can't. I'm back in here. It leaves me just a little bit shy, but other than that, a nice knife, beautifully made, excellent shape, great quality, and I have to say to Kuby, I am quite impressed. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.